back, everyone.
Oh, I think I fixed the camera.
Yay.
We'll see. Let's hope after
Cool.
we share the screen. Let's hope it's still works. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. We are going to finish off our previous stream. This is kind of a part two continuation of our last stream, talking about the General Strike Summit, which is literally happening right now. So as soon as we finish the stream, I think we should go hop on. But yeah, there's some really good conversations happening from today until the 14th on Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the Hampton Leftist Network. I left the link to their YouTube channel in the description. So go check it out. Watch the General Strike Summit. It's going to be a really cool event. Something that they've been talking about all summer and is finally being pulled off. So I'm really excited to, tune in, and they have some really cool speakers, union representatives, different podcasters, and also just people with like really dope life experiences to talk about. So super excited to chat about that. But I wanted to kind of like encapsulate and kind of respond to slash support Fred Hampton Leftists in their work doing the General Strike Summit, because they got a lot of backlash yesterday, specifically from like rich fucking white privileged stupid ass podcasters yesterday, and then just all of the like professional professional left, just like not very unserious kind of left. And so they got a lot of shit on Twitter, and I just wanted to kind of respond to some of that and see some of the takes that were had, because there were some really good takes, especially from the Fred Hampton Leftist Network. So I wanted to show that and just kind of talk about why these ideas of like what we think activism is and organizing is, or even part of the conversation today. So yeah, you have anything to add before we jump in?
No, that's good.
All right, cool. Okay, so I'm going to first try to share the screen. Let's hope that this doesn't screw up our camera or audio. But I'm going to go ahead and share some tweets that were said last night that I really just wanted to share. I took some screen grabs of them because I thought it'd be a little bit easier than, and obviously I didn't want to like any of these tweets either, so I can go back to them. So yeah, we took some screen grabs, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about them in some order. So do you know who this person is? I feel like some people have talked about this person, but I don't actually know what fucking relevance this person has to the left like movement at all.
They're a really shitty journalists.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought they were a journalist. I just didn't want to like give them that professional title. So
They're those journalists who has, went to a nice school and thinks they're better than everyone, and
Nick has
they're
been
just a
sharing
douchebag.
Nick has been sharing an article I think that they wrote about like Beto O'Rourke and
Oh yeah, it's
how
terrible.
Beto has like so many grassroots supporters or something.
That
So
was back. Yeah, it was back.
I didn't want to claim that they were a journalist, because that doesn't really.
That's their title in society.
So I think this person has there's like some beef that this person has always had. I don't know how to say their first name, so I'm just gonna say this person. But this person has some like long-standing beef with Jimmy Dore, and specifically the people that they use like in this picture. It's Jimmy Dore, Nico, and then also
Katie Halper.
No.
Oh no, that's it looks like Katie Halper. It's Fiora.
Yes.
So
yeah, so they.
I'm sorry.
This person has like some long. Yeah, no, but I think the combo couch, like y'all know who we're talking about. This person has like some long-standing beef with these three, and just like really has. I think that this is definitely not the first time that this person has tried to come after these people. I mean, this person was critical of forced to vote. This person was critical of the Medicare for All marches. There's just everything. This person has been trying to, stomp down on left movements for months now, even into last year. So this tweet was not necessarily surprising to anyone, but it's also just very telling. So obviously you can see it, they tweeted, sounds like a really serious event. This is some pictures that Fred Hampton Leftists put out in order to, promote the event. They have Jimmy Dore coming on. They have Nico coming on, and then they have Fiorella. So yeah, I mean, great speakers, fantastic lineup. But for some reason, this is being, shown as this is not a good event. and it's not a serious event because these specific people are going to be on the show.
I guess for a little bit of background, you've had this kind of rift on the left in America since Biden got elected, or shortly after that, where there's a portion of it who like we were all Bernie Sanders supporters. It's kind of where our little faction was formed behind that. And when that fell apart, these people that were showing you these screenshots of Hassan Tiger, the guy who's responding, he's also a dickhead. He's just a douchebag live streamer who makes like $300,000 a month through Twitch.
He is a millionaire.
Yeah, he lives in his nice little mansion in LA, and he just shits on people who are
started out
organizing and doing like real activism.
He started out on the Young Turks.
Yeah, he's Cenk Uyghur's nephew, and
yep.
Yeah, all he has to do is suck his uncle's dick, and he makes $300,000 a month.
And this has been like Anthony said, this has been a long-standing rift on the left, starting with Force the Vote, simply because Force the Vote dared to challenge the Progressive Caucus specifically, try to get them to force the vote on Medicare for all by withholding their votes for Nancy Pelosi in January of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this is kind of where it all started. Was these few people have very harsh loyalties to these politicians.
Well, Hassan Piker, for like background, he did a live stream on Twitch where he played Among Us with AOC and Ilhan Omar. So he has like personal relationships. He has reasons to be against anybody or anything.
But a lot of these other people that we're going to show you don't necessarily have personal relationships. No. They just have very deep personal loyalties.
They just don't. A lot of so to me, a lot of these leftists that are against like people like me and Emily, they call us the dumb left because they want to act like we're too crazy and we're too radical and like pie in the sky. And really what they believe in is that doing the correct procedural strategy and working within the system will kissing ass until doing this like Game of Thrones shit where you're like Tyrion Lannister like sucking up and making allies of people, and then you stab them in the back to get your agenda done. Like that somehow works in capitalism and in the structure of society.
They're under the assumption that politicians give a shit about you. They actually care about any movement that we have when there's so much precedent that shows otherwise. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. If you want to fix it, I can go ahead and chat a little bit about this stuff too. So yeah, this is kind of the initial tweet that kind of sparked everything, as far as I'm aware of. So yeah, this person really just tweeted this because they have like personal vendettas against Jimmy Dore and the folks that are in these pictures. So nothing. I don't really think that this is even something that's criticizing like Fred Hampton leftists as a whole. It's just like a stupid fucking tweet, and he's just bitter. So then we go on to the reply that you saw in the last tweet a little bit. It's Hassan talking about like saying that a general strike is when you watch the live stream. For also context, the General Strike Summit is really like Fred Hampton leftists never claimed that the General Strike Summit was going to be a general strike. The General Strike Summit and the idea behind it was always to raise awareness about general strikes as a whole and the idea of doing general strikes on the left and as a strategy to move our movement further and to move the policies that we're asking for further. And also to bring up a lot of like mutual aid conversations, because a lot of the folks that are on Fred Hampton leftists, they do mutual aid in their own communities. One person does it in Michigan and is also doing it across the country now. And Affini also does work in DC with mutual aid networks. So a lot of the folks in Fred Hampton leftists are a part of mutual aid networks, and part of the General Strike Summit was to, as far as I was aware, to teach folks about mutual aid, how to start a mutual aid fund, how to start a mutual aid project, how to get, basically having conversations about how we get to having a long-term sustained general strike at some point. So this General Strike Summit is not a general strike. They're not like trying to get people to strike. This is a live stream event in which a bunch of different lefty commentators, union organizers, union leaders, just different like workers, different organizers, people that have personal experience with doing strikes. It's all coming together to talk about why a general strike is important, why we need a general strike, giving the like context behind it, and then also talking about how we are going to be able to sustain a general strike for a long period of time. So this is just a straw man. Like, no, they never claimed that they were doing a general strike. They're doing a live stream event about how to sustain a general strike in the future. So this is just a straw man, and it just shows he's fucking butthurt about something. And, you know, Nick responded, but I think I want to go to this next tweet as well. So he also tweeted because I think this was a response to, Tara Reid. Tara Reid kind of talked a little bit about like her involvement, because she's also is also involved in the General Strike Summit. For those of you who don't know who Tara Reid is, she's an author, I believe. She works for a lot of different like senators and different politicians. She worked for Joe Biden when he was a senator. She is one of the folks that also accused him of sexual assault during the primary and general election time. And she's just kind of been like a target of like the liberal left and like liberals in general for a very long time. So he responded to Tara Reid being involved in the, General Strike Summit as well. And I believe, this tweet, obviously it was deleted, but I believe this tweet was kind of just calling out like, and a lot of people have this valid criticism is like, why are you criticizing something? Why don't you do something? If you don't like it, either try to fix it, and, get involved with Fred Hampton Leftist General Strike, or do something yourself. Don't just sit here and complain and, criticize something that you don't really know anything about. And Hassan responded saying that he raised $180K for strike funds in the past 3 days, saying that they think that the general strike is when you watch a TikTok video and take a day off work, and that somehow Hassan is any different from, like raising, money for strike funds is any different than actually teaching people and educating people on how to have a sustained general strike. So yeah, because I mean, it's important, like knowing how to have a sustained general strike and educating folks on these like general basic organizing skills is so important. I mean, raising funds for it is also, the current strike is also important, but the current strikes aren't going to be, they're not a general strike. So if we're talking about a general strike, like raising funds for current strikes is actually not doing anything to help long term.
They're not going to be sustained.
They're not sustained.
The
That's what
strikes
I'm
are going to
saying.
end
They're
at
not
some point.
sustained. They're not sustained strikes. At the same time, this like raising money is not going to educate. A lot of the education around how we do a general strike, how we build mutual aid networks, it's not accessible to people. People don't know how to do that. I don't know how to build a mutual aid network. I'm very excited to watch the General Strike Summit in order to learn more about that, because that's something that I've been very interested in for a while. So even people like me who've been to college, who have organized for 5 years, don't know how to do those kinds of things. And we need to, expand that to people who also don't have the same privileges that I've had to get as educated as I have about, organizing. There are a lot of people that don't have the fucking resources in order to tune in and fucking teach themselves about organizing all the time. That's just not realistic. So this is a really great way to make it accessible, bring the information to everyone, in a free platform, in a way that is like, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's all day long. It's available to everyone. I'm sure they're going to upload it so people can watch back. So this is just like, again, another straw man of like, this is not the point of people's criticisms of what he said. But for some reason, it's a competition. It's a contest of who can do more and who can, do what. And for some reason, he thinks that raising $180,000 is like the end all be all of all organizing. And there's another take to this as well, but I mean, a lot of other people have already pointed it out, so I want to share that first. So Affini, who is a part of the Fred Hampton Leftist Network, quote tweeted that and said that, Hassan is a millionaire, which is true. He also could have donated that $180K to the strike fund himself, and he didn't have to ask the working class audience that he has to give him more money. So, which is true. Like, you fucking raised money. Like, you're not taking responsibility for the fact that you are yourself a millionaire. You have as much money as you fucking have, and you're still exploiting your audience in order to raise money for these strike funds, when if you are a millionaire, you should be taking responsibility for the fact that you are also contributing to people being exploited in general. Like, you have to take responsibility for that. And it's kind of like it's kind of like this, I don't even know how to like say it. Like, I don't know, a lot of nonprofits do that as well, where they'll like raise money from people who are poor, or they'll like, like ask people that are experiencing that issue for help. And it's also like, what are you guys doing? Because we know that the people who are running your organizations have six-figure salaries. Some of them, we know that some of your donors are billionaires and are just using your organizations to hide and evade taxes. So like there are a lot of different like angles to this, but this is just one of the criticisms of that argument as well. Is like you're a fucking millionaire. Like you didn't have to raise any money. You didn't have to raise any money. You could have just donated it if you actually genuinely cared.
I hadn't seen this tweet.
Yeah. It was, I think, today.
About to say that.
Yeah.
Saying, why did you have other people? Why did you raise it?
Yeah.
Like, you really care that much? Like 180K is fucking pocket change.
And if you, I mean, cool. You wanted
you
to raise money for the strike funds, and you know, people were willing to donate. Awesome. You could have matched that.
Right.
You could have said, okay, like I'm gonna match whatever money I raise off of this. So let's do a donation campaign, and me myself, as a millionaire, are going to match that funds, and they could have had $400,000 that they donated to the strike fund. So it's just hypocritical. It's just again like another way for him to like do this competitiveness and to evade like, oh look at me, I'm doing all the great things, but also like I'm never going to sacrifice myself and my own class and my own well-being and my comfortability in order to help these issues. It's just one example of why he has the views that he has. Because he's one of those people who there's a lot of like organizing theory around this, but they're called the haves. The haves, but don't like basically they have everything, but they don't want to lose it. So like they do want things to get better, but they don't want things to get worse for that. You know, so they don't want to part ways with some of their wealth in order to give equity to people who are actually being exploited. But they also want to like give lip service to change. So that's kind of just one example of that. And then this is the last, I think, like tweet that I'm going to show that's kind of theirs. And I want to show some other tweets of people who just have some really good takes and have like me and Anthony kind of react to them because they're fantastic. But this is that initial person also tweeting again, quote tweeting Savage Joy, who is one of the organizers that ran the Medicare for All marches. And, you know, she was talking about how she's unfollowed some people because of their take on this general strike summit. And this person, you know, quote tweeted it saying, I'm trashing activists, in quotes, because I'm dismissing the involvement of Jimmy Dore and Nico House in this latest lefty scam that will be forgotten, just like the Medicare for All marches. Which, you know, is just literally, it's honestly, I'm surprised that he even admitted this. Like, this is just blatantly him admitting that this has nothing to do with the actual strike summit itself. It has nothing to do with the merits of it. It has everything to do with personal disagreements with people and personal beef with people. And that's just how you know, again, like Nick says this all the time, they are deeply unserious. They have no valid invested interest in actually helping anything. They are just so addicted to drama and criticism and just calling people out that they actually don't fucking pay attention and give a shit about changing anything. This is how so many activists are nowadays. Like, I know so many activists, people who have come at me on Facebook, on my social media pages, that I used to know, that I used to organize with, are exactly like this. They have no serious in-person organizing, and they have no serious background in organizing, but they just want to criticize everyone, and so they'll just come at you personally.
Normal ass people who are struggling with this stuff go to these rallies and they go to this stuff. So you are trashing those people.
Yeah.
Just by being mad at Jimmy Dore or anybody else that's there personally because you don't like them or you don't like their delivery or you think they're an asshole. Like that's not the point. It's not about Jimmy Dore. It's not about Nico House. It is not about any individual person here. It's about caring about a cause that's bigger than yourself. But as much as Eoin or whatever the fuck his stupid ass name is, you would say that like Jimmy and them make it about themselves and that's a scam. No, it's really Higgins, again, whatever your stupid name is. He's the one who's doing the scam. He's the one who is distracting from the cause for some reason.
The biggest lefty scam is funneling leftists into the Democratic Party. So let's just be fucking real. Like that's what this guy does, is to funnel people into the Democratic Party. If we want to be real, that's the biggest fucking lefty scam.
Eeyore Higgins. You should call him Eeyore. Eeyore Higgins. He's a bum.
He's a bum.
He's a bum.
But I do want to like show other tweets. I just wanted to mention this like idea of like, and this happens so fucking much on the like procedural left. They have this idea of like wanting fucking, and even AOC, but I don't even remember her exact words now of what she said before, but she was basically saying that like the people, I don't know if it was Medicare for All marches or if it was Forced to Vote, but basically like criticizing people because they're not real activists. I think it was Medicare for All marches because she was saying that these people, real healthcare activists, aren't in support of Forced to Vote or Medicare for All marches.
It's almost like you have to reach a certain status or you have to have certain
you have
credentials
to
to
be
be an
involved.
activist.
You have to be involved in an organization. And this is what's so frustrating. And this is why I struggle with organizations like the Sunrise Movement, Our Revolution, DSA, organizations like that, is that they literally funnel activists into their organizations in order to, because it makes, I mean, and that's great. If you want to participate in organizations like that, I have participated in the past in organizations like that. They help people have a sense of direction in their organizing. Again, a lot of people don't know how to organize interpersonally just by themselves, which is fine. So if you want to engage in that, that's fine. They help, raise money. They're like one arm. A lot of people don't want to donate to just like small organizing groups. They want to donate to nonprofits they can trust. So that's one benefit of it. And then another benefit of it is that they can pull these activists in and they can, again, push them farther to the right. They can kind of like, but people also feel like when they're involved in that they have, they feel like they have a vested interest in something, that they're valid because they're participating in an institution. I was always taught as a baby activist, as a baby organizer. Initially, I think this is how a lot of organizers start out. I wasn't doing the big direct actions, organizing protests, any of that kind of stuff. How I started out organizing was having conversations with people around me, talking to my roommates, talking to my friends, talking to other people, radicalizing each other, talking about what we could do. That is organizing. I don't know where we thought this, like, and I was always taught that when I was a baby organizer. Like, organizing is organizing your group of friends. Organizing is coming together every single Saturday and having a chat about capitalism, or having a reading group, or Organizing is not fucking organizing the big protests. Organizing is not being out on the streets. There's also this, like, I hate the word online left. I can go on for days about that. One, it's just not true. Like, there, a lot of the people who they like to call the online left are people who are out on the streets and who have been out on the streets, either at the Medicare for All marches. Affini has been out was even out at the housing eviction moratorium strike that Cori Bush put on. Like, these people are out on the streets. So not only is it one, a lie, but it's also hella fucking ableist to assume that people have to be out on the streets to be activists and to be organizers. We have to, like, the revolution has been so inaccessible for so long, and people are continuing to do that. And I think even people with good intentions, like, that's why I don't even criticize people like this who are just like tweeting and stuff. We need people to fucking tweet. And I think like Jackson Hinkle has one good point on this of like, who is not online at this point in their lives? I mean, unless you don't
have a phone and you can't afford internet, you're
so,
online.
You're online. Every single leftist is online. Every single leftist has a vested interest in it. So like, just to even have the assumption that like the online left is some like bad thing. We're all fucking online. We're all engaging online. We were just in the middle of a pandemic. Like, online discourse and online engagement and organizing is going to become the mainstream, and we have to just get over that. But at the same time, it's extremely ableist to assume that if you cannot physically get in the streets and march and organize, which there should be protests and different actions, rallies that are accessible for people if they want to join those kinds of things. But we also, like, organizing is everything. Organizing is not holding the mic and holding the megaphone and screaming into the megaphone. Organizing is not making the signs. I mean, it is, but that's not all that it is. Like, organizing is also doing the tweets. Organizing is also doing the graphic design. Organizing is running the, fundraising page. And this is kind of stuff, these are kind of actions that people who do have disabilities can engage in as well. And people who cannot be out on the streets physically, who do not have the ability to, sustain, like, be out on the streets for hours on end. Like, those people are still valid in the movement and also should be allowed to be in the movement. So it frustrates the fucking hell out of me that people want to talk about the online left, the online left, the online left. Some people are only going to be able to organize online. That doesn't make them any less of an organizer. It doesn't make them any less of a person who gives a shit about the future of this country and the future of the people in this country. It's just so frustrating beyond belief to me. And I don't understand where this idea that activists have to have a fucking title behind their name in some organization in order to be an activist. No, you don't. And I think even like it was so frustrating, even in Michigan, the organizer that organized the Medicare for All march here in Detroit. I was talking to one of the organizers that I work with for Medicare for All stuff, and we are a very small organization, but I was talking to one of the organizers, and they were saying that they just didn't trust it because they had a conversation with this organizer who was leading this march in Detroit, and this person just didn't have any connections. This organizer wasn't really an organizer because they didn't have any connections to DSA or any Detroit organizations, or they just didn't seem prepared. And it's
So
like,
douchey
do
and
they
elitist.
have? Yeah, it's so elitist, and that's what I told him. I was like, I don't believe that organizers have to, one, have a title, two, have connections to other organizations and build relationships with leadership, or three, have to know everything about organizing. When I led my first protest, I did not know everything about organizing. I learned more about organizing every single year, every single day that I engage in this work. You are never going to know 110% of what you need to know about organizing. And we need everyone to be organizing, even people who haven't done it before, even people who haven't led the protest, even people who can't be out on the street, especially those people. It's just not feasible to assume that every single person can engage in an institution like a nonprofit organization that's just going to, isn't even going to listen to them. A lot of those nonprofits don't even give a fuck about their constituents and the volunteer organizers that they have. Those volunteer organizers just do whatever the national organization tells them to do. And I used to work for an organization that was like that. I used to work for Next Gen because I needed the money and I was struggling really hard during the pandemic. And it's an awful organization, and it is not great for their organizers. But that's the thing, is part of the reason that is because all of the organizers that work there can say that they're professional organizers, but they're actually not listened to, and they actually just do whatever the top leadership tells them. And the top leadership gets their direction from the billionaire donors that they have.
Dude, this whole thing, it's like if you go to a fucking high school football game and you grab the ball and you just pop it, you're like, you're not in the NFL, you can't play football. What the hell? It's like, no, dude, anybody can do it. I don't know, you don't have to be some professional asshole or have credentials or connections. Literally, just go out in the street and try to organize something, or I don't know. Anybody can do it.
Organizing is your own fucking personal experience.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. People are like, you're not an organizer until you've read and understand the whole entire Communist Manifesto and Rules for Radicals. Fuck that shit. I know what, and a lot of people who who definitely have more experiences than I do know that based off personal experience. Their life informs them on how to organize, period. Yeah. And you need to sit the fuck down and stop providing these steps and rules in order to be an activist. There's no right way to be an activist.
You think anybody had MLK fill out a fucking activist resume? Tell us all the theory you've read. Tell us all the schools you've gone to. Tell us all the people in high places that you know. No.
And I think that part of that is and I thought initially AOC bringing young people in and making them feel like they can organize is a good thing. And I do think it was good to introduce people into organizing. But I also think that the rise of AOC and Bernie Sanders and this conversation about activism, and it's made activism more of a clout chase than it has an actual legitimate
being
way
weaponized
to organize.
Now by her supporters.
Yeah, if I am not a professional organizer, if I don't have that title, or if I'm not involved in an organization, I'm not actually a real activist. And so it's elitist, it's fucked up, it's ableist as shit, it's extremely harmful to
and
people.
It turns, and I think this might be the ultimate goal, it turns people off to actually do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing shit like this, because you don't want to be dragged through the dirt.
People who are not involved in politics, not even people like us. People
you don't want
who
some
aren't
asshole. You don't want some asshole who has hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube and Twitch to come and embarrass you publicly because he's got little 14 and 15, 16-year-old fangirls who just like him because he's hot, come after him and trash you on Twitter too, which is exactly what Hassan does. And that's exactly his place in this power structure here. And his uncle who runs CYP does that, but in the news realm, by muddying the waters there. So it's really just it's a team effort here.
And I still struggle. Like, I was always told too as a baby organizer, like, don't criticize other people's work when you are not involved in the work. You know, you don't know who someone might have reached out. I used to get criticized all the time. There was like a time that I was involved in. I was the president of intersectional feminist organization at CMU, and people criticized me. People argued with me. People tried to call me out because I wasn't trying hard enough to partner with the like Black feminist organization on campus. But in reality, people had no idea that I had been emailing them all semester, and we just couldn't find a time to work together. That we were in conversation, we had relationships together, and then by the end of that semester, we ended up finding a time to get together and do an open meeting and be in the same space. But like, people criticize without knowing where people are at. People criticize without knowing the context. And I was always taught as a baby organizer, like, don't do that. You don't know what other, organizers are trying to do or going through, whatever it may be. So like, don't criticize until you actually know. And people are just don't get that now. So I just wanted to go off on that because that shit genuinely frustrates me. It's so ableist and so problematic, and I think people need to stop using it. Like, even people who I agree with need to stop saying like, well, I'm out on the streets. Okay, well, not everyone can be out on the streets. So like, let's not use that as a level of like ability
to put in
be
that
an
work.
organizer.
It's great to put in that work, and thank you for doing it. But stop shaming others for not. It's dumb.
If you are
really
physically
stupid.
and mentally able to be out on the streets, you should be on the streets. I am not saying that people should not be out on the streets. Everyone should be out on the streets. But at the same time, and we should make protesting and stuff like that accessible for people that aren't super able to be out on the streets all the time to be able to do that if they'd like. But if someone legitimately cannot make it out of their house and they have no resources to get to the protest, that does not make them any less of an activist or an organizer. There are lots of different ways to organize, and part of those are doing a lot of online work. So this idea of the online left or organizing online is bullshit. Like, there are so many reasons to debunk that historically, but also even just in the last year. Like, we are going to experience more pandemics as climate change happens, as the ice caps melt, and a lot of these like previous ancient viruses come out. Like, we are going to have multiple pandemics. We're also going to be in this pandemic for the rest of our lives. So we need to just get rid of this idea of the online left and online organizing is bad inherently. But I digress about that. I wanted to share some tweets. So Nick from Fred Hampton Leftists, the founder of Fred Hampton Leftists, said this guy is just a standard shit lib. That's why he feels the need to attack FHL. We knew this was going to happen. We did know this was going to happen. It happens every single time. And we also know, and he's admitted, like, he has personal disagreements with Jimmy Dore and Nico House. So, like, we knew this was going to happen. He's been criticizing. Yeah, a lot of people do. But so we know that these people are going to come after it. It's par for the course, especially if you do choose to work with Jimmy. Affini says, if you're going to make criticism in my mentions, have a solution. I am an organizer. I love to learn, grow, and understand. Have a constructive opinion or get cussed out. Take it or leave it. And I love that. I said, like, all organizers, I would never sit here and claim that myself as an organizer knows everything. Like, I am still learning so much, and I am looking forward to the General Strike Summit so that I can learn more about organizing from people who do the work. And, like, if you don't have a constructive solution or you're not trying to help me learn like farther, a lot of these criticisms are also personal attacks. Like, they make them personal attacks, and people have done that to me as well as an organizer. So yeah, have a constructive opinion or get the fuck out of the way. Like, you are literally just
either okay. Come at us with constructive, substantive, actual disagreements or catch the smoke. I'm fucking tired of this shit.
Yeah. I think someone also tweeted, here it is. Yeah. Like, this is another point that kind of relates to that. If you don't have a constructive opinion, and it's also like, why are we also, like, part of the thing too is like, why are we also trying to always find holes in what people are doing? You know, there's never going to be a perfect action. There's never going to be a perfect strike summit, a perfect protest, a perfect rally. Like, we're all going to make mistakes. There's always going to be holes in everything. But this person says, I never understood the point of leftists who are against trying to do things. We feel every day that there are people starving, people homeless, people in prison, people getting deported or evicted. We should embrace trying everything possible if you want actual change. By any means necessary is the fucking strategy that we need to take. And I don't mean like by any means necessary of continuing to do the shit that we're doing. I'm saying by any means necessary about the shit that we're not doing, which is being out on the streets and doing stuff like the General Strike Summit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen TYT in the how many fucking years, 5 years, 6 years that they've been on doing a General Strike Summit. I haven't seen a lot of these including Jimmy Dore. Haven't seen Jimmy Dore do that. And Jimmy Dore has been talking about a General Strike Summit on his, show. So this is a big fucking deal for for a team of a network to do something like that. That's not me criticizing Jimmy Dore, by the way. That's just me saying this is the first time that anything like this has happened, and it took a new network of like black lefties to come on and do it. And I think we should fucking support that. Like, stop trying to find so many holes in everyone's situations, which is why last week when we talked about the Sunrise Movement, we said we support this action. Do it because it is necessary. It needs to happen to Joe Manchin. It needs to happen to Nancy Pelosi. But can we also do this exact same action to everyone else? So we didn't have criticisms of the action. We had criticisms of like, why is this not happening more? Why are we not doing this to everyone? So why are we against trying everything that we possibly fucking can? And we have to understand that this stuff is not going to be perfect, especially if we're going to make it not elitist and we're going to include everyone who is struggling with some form of exploitation of under a capitalist system to be involved. If people who don't have organizing backgrounds are going to be doing this work, which they should, and we should all support that, we can't expect things to be perfect, and we can't criticize every little thing that people do. It's just unsustainable. Someone said, motherfuckers like you have done more to sabotage leftist efforts than you have actually opposing the Democrats, GOP, and the ruling class when you work to preserve the status quo rather than fight. What does that say about you? Same thing. Like, these people are literally focusing on personal disagreements. They're very deeply unserious about actual change. Ian Higgins showing how truly classy of a guy he is, promoting the Fred Hampton Leftist General Strike Summit. He's not at all trashing the whole event because of his personal problems with history, is he? And this was before, I think, this guy, Ian, before he came out and said that he did have personal disagreements. So this, Chris, nailed it. Nailed it before it even came out. Absolutely, this is because of personal problems with history. Also, same person, Chris. A general strike is when you watch my live stream, says Hassan, as we showed you before. And Chris says socialism is when you vote for AOC, which is just incredible. And also, organizing is when you vote. That's what they genuinely think. They'll sit there and fucking put quotations against activists and talk about organizing and how people aren't real organizers when they believe organizing is voting. It's fucking funny. Someone said Rome from Fred Hampton Leftist said instead of talking about strikers connecting with union members and going out to show support to workers, maybe Fred Hampton Leftist should play video games on Twitch and talk about how progressive the Democrats are, which is a jab at Hassan because that's what he does. He plays games on Twitch and literally just talks about how much he loves AOC. I love it. I think this might be the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. So this person says the professional left thinks you shouldn't attend the General Strike Summit because Jimmy Dore will be there and he yells and uses swear words, which is literally true. That's the thing too. All this stuff is just so it's civility politics. It's people who are going to use that against us constantly. And again, these are the same people who criticize and are mad at Jimmy for yelling and swearing and being too aggressive. It's
but then they'll tell you to go punch a Nazi.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Also, these people were supportive of stuff like that when Bernie Sanders was out there yelling and screaming. But now that, no Democrat is doing that, and we're not Democrats doing that, we can't, it's not acceptable anymore.
By the way, I don't care if you punch Nazis. I'm not saying to not do it, but
it's just hypocritical. It's ironic and it's hypocritical. And people
probably don't punch people because, don't let that be your first resort. But, Nazis are different. You can't really. Anyway, that was a sidetrack.
But yeah, I think this is just it's just one way to keep people to just find some reason, and it doesn't matter if it's a valid reason, just any reason that you can possibly think of to try to shut people up. It's also very privileged to sit there and say that it's tone policing, especially in relation. I think a lot of this is also in relation, this criticism has to do with the fact that it's a black network. It's a network of black leftists, again, showing your racism, because if this was AOC doing a General Strike Summit, if this was Hassan doing a General Strike Summit, if this was TYT doing a General Strike Summit,
it would
be incredible. This is something that we should be doing.
Moving mountains.
But no, we're going to criticize and be mad at people, specifically a Black Leftist network for
and they're normal
organizing.
People, so
and also,
this
Black Leftist network is talking about experiences that they have. Like, how are you going to sit here as a fucking privileged white guy who sits on Twitch, or even Ian? I'm pretty sure Ian is also a white man, but like just sits there and like criticizes the Black network for coming out and talking about their experiences with mutual aid and talking about their experiences with capitalism. That's something that you should never disagree with. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care if you disagree with the strategy. If someone's coming out and saying like, yeah, Joe Biden fucking ruined my family and we should do mutual aid and this is how I do it, why the fuck are we disagreeing with that? Why is that a problem? So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of tone policing. There's a lot of, it's just super privileged to assume that like people who are experiencing exploitation should not be allowed to yell and be angry and frustrated. It's like the same argument that people used during BLM when there were like rioters and stuff like that. Like, hell fucking yeah, go out there and riot, go out there and steal shit. Like, you are fighting against your, like, not being violent doesn't count against an oppressor that doesn't give a shit about being violent.
Right.
You can't do the non-violence thing against, or like non-aggression thing towards a system that is inherently violent. The system doesn't care about being violent towards us. We shouldn't care about being violent towards it, whether that's in our words or in our actions. Like, you just can't. It's just very like, it's very liberal. It's a very like, it's a very like elitist, like privileged liberal kind of take.
They just don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I wanted to show those kinds of things because it genuinely frustrates me that people have this idea of leftist, like what organizing is. I think like that's the most frustrating thing about it to me is like there are fucking rules to being an organizer and it's ridiculous. Like, we need to listen to the communities that are actually experiencing these things. I want to hear from the, single mom who's struggling to feed her kids and can't afford housing, and I want her to organize a protest rather than fucking Hassan Piker or, like,
right.
I want those people to be doing work. So, yeah. And I think it's really great for Fred Hampton Leftists to be making this information accessible because as someone who, like, I was struggling after my final year, like going into my final year, as an organizer, I was struggling so much to understand my shortcomings as an organizer, and that's why not everyone has the ability to do this, but I had the ability to work with an organization who has a fellowship program that taught me so much about organizing. That information is not accessible to everyone. I had to apply for that. I had to be accepted into that, and not everyone has the ability to do that. So, Fred Hampton Leftists making this information accessible, Fred Hampton Leftists making this information widely available for people is never a bad thing.
It's really a service to the community.
It is absolutely a service. It is something that they are doing to move shit along. And even coming
they don't have to fucking do any of this.
Even coming, that's the other thing too. Like, drop your fucking expectations of like specifically Black organizers. Like, you guys are really showing your shit at this point. Like, oh my God forbid they have a few fucking people on there that you don't like. They're also having the Vanguard on there. I don't like them either, but I'm still gonna support the goddamn General Strike Summit because they're making information accessible. So, I wanted to show y'all, I'm gonna share screen one more time to show y'all the graphic for the Fred Hampton Leftists General Strike Summit and give y'all a little bit of context. So as you can see, it is happening right now. They are, I believe, talking right now about how capitalism affects humans, which is super interesting. Like, I love this stuff. So yeah, go ahead and go support as much as you can. There was a pin up there. I wonder if they took it. But they are going to be having a bunch of different speakers. You can see all the speakers here. Like, they literally, just the fact that they were able to bring all these people together is insane to me. Like, y'all are doing great fucking work. Genuinely. I love Fred. I'm honestly, they're, like, if people ask me who inspires me and who I, like, look to, like, are you kidding me? Ran for fucking office. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is amazing. This shit is awesome.
Anybody who watches this should go something.
Definitely. Yeah, whenever people ask me like who inspires me now, I say that because they do. But I'll just use the cover photo here. yeah, General Strike Summit happening starting today. It's going on right now from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. until Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. each day. And I'm sure they're going to save their live streams because they usually do. So I'm sure you'll be able to go back and watch them as well. But yeah, tune in if you can. Please support if you can. They also have donation links, so if you can give, please try to give to their network as well. Tune in, especially to like the conversations about mutual aid, because I can say for a lot of the folks that I know are subscribed to our channel at this point, are a lot of our friends in Michigan, and Michigan does not have a lot of mutual aid networks. So definitely tune into that, because we can all start something in our community, and it's as simple as like offering to get groceries for your neighbors or starting a garden in the summer. You know, like it's very simple, but also like everyone should have access to this information to try to start doing that. So yeah, check it out. Don't fucking listen to people who are just trying to I think like a good rule of thumb is like anyone who's trying to punch down at the left, like just leave them.
Don't let them shit on you and just treat you like a child. Like, no, you have a voice, you have a worldview that is very based in reality, and it's you're right. I'm sorry. You have every right to be angry about the shit that goes on and the awful exploitation that we face in our society. You have every single right to be angry about it. You have every single right to go out in the street, tear shit up. Maybe not literally, or literally. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care anymore.
This is your permission to be angry, be mad, call people out, say like hold people accountable, hold politicians accountable. I think, like I said, the rule of thumb is like if people are only, and that's the thing, is we have criticisms of fellow organizers as well, and it's fine to have criticisms of fellow organizers. It's fine to have different ideas. No one's saying to never criticize any organizers, but you have to understand you have to come from a place of offering a different idea or being willing to talk about a different idea rather than just criticizing something. If you don't like something, get involved and try to change it. If you can't try to change it, like start something else. Start something yourself as much as you possibly can.
And you're not free. Like none of it are free until we're all free. Yeah. And so that's. Really
and if you can't do that, talk to your neighbors. That's one of the like simplest things you can do. Talk to your friends. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your parents. Try to radicalize them. That is organizing. I don't know where we got this idea that that's not organizing. That is organizing. Organizing your peers.
But the establishment wants to think organizing is so that none of us do it.
Put together a reading group. Come together every single Friday or Thursday for the Fred Hampton Leftist Roundtable. Come do a watch party and watch the Fred Hampton Leftist Roundtable. Like, come together every Friday when we do our stream and listen to our stream. You know, that's organizing. That is organizing. Like, you know, like it's very simple to do those kinds of things. So we just wanted to uplift this. We are, like, if it wasn't made clear enough, 110% in support of the General Strike Summit. I am so excited to like watch this weekend and to engage in it. And yeah, fuck everyone who's like using their like hidden racism and agendas to like not support this work. So support them. The link is below for the Fred Hampton Leftist YouTube channel. So definitely check it out, subscribe, donate to them, tune into the summit. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about?
No, not really. I thank you for putting all that together, and you went off today.
Thanks, you did too. Yeah, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, to support this community. Comment down below. We want to know how y'all are doing. We want to know how y'all are doing. We want to know what you thought about the stream. So please engage with us. Let us know if there's anything that we can do better, or just like what your general thoughts are about our show so far. We're really enjoying doing it. I think like we both look forward to doing this every single Friday. If y'all have stories that you want us to chat about, let us know.
I get really excited like on Monday and Tuesday. Like, oh shit, Friday.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, definitely.
I love doing this. I hope y'all can hear how much we love doing this.
Definitely subscribe if you want to stick around and see our next video. Hit the bell if you'd like notifications on when we go live. Comment below what you think. If you're in the financial ability to donate to the show, definitely do. But I would say especially try to donate to Fred Hampton Leftists this week because they're doing a lot of great work. So if you have some extra money to donate to both, please do. We would greatly appreciate it. And we will see y'all on next Friday to chat about some more stuff. So,
thanks everybody.
Have a great Friday, y'all. See you later.
Peace.